Hello. Anything cool. This is called Kellyology. The podcast where we basically dive into the depths of human connection and understanding. I'm your host, Kelly, lover of music, and I'm also a student of psychology, hence the whole Kellyology thing. But I like having a good old chinwag as well. You guys seemed interested. You were right up for it. I actually already know Andrew prior to you guys. So I am inviting you all in and opening up the conversation so people can join us, explore the uncharted territories of perspectives, pushing boundaries, because here I have a little mantra: we don't sit pretty. You get out of your comfort zone and you try and experience something new. This is all new to me too. Didn't think I'm a pro in this, by the way.
It certainly is.
So hey guys, I'll say hey, introduce yourselves.
Hey,
this is the
Azurescens. Yep.
So we've got...
I'm Brian, the bass player.
I'm Andy, vocals, lead guitar.
I'm Andy,
Vocals,
vocals.
lead guitar.
Get in there,
I'm
Andy.
Andrew.
He's not normal this shy,
Lead guitar.
Lead
I'll
guitar.
relax, man. It's alright.
You've got it, you're fine.
And I'm Gaz, I sing a bit and I play rhythm guitar.
Nice. Happy Sunday as well. Thank you for coming on. This
It's alright.
is a big thing for me. You're my first guests, so props to you. But I want to get right into it because I have a lot of questions, basically. And if you don't know the answer, you don't have an answer, just say that. But I know that you have got 4 singles available on Spotify at the moment. I know you have got more because I've seen you live at the Midnight Breakfast Club.
That's right, yeah.
Because I went on his Spotify, I was like, they've got more than 4 tunes. I was like, I fucking heard them live. Like, what the fuck? So you've got The Island, You Better Get Used to It, which is my fave. They toured from 2023 last year.
That's
Light from Dark and Middle of Nowhere in 2022 as well. So I'm aware that you've obviously got more material, as I've had the pleasure of seeing you live. But is there any preparations happening to release an album?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Of course.
We've got a new song coming out on Thursday.
You
Give Me
said.
Something, that'll be an album that's coming out as well.
And you've never played that one?
No.
Yeah.
Everything we've recorded so far, we do it live.
We've done
So,
that.
we want to work our way through them. Hey, guys.
That's what we've got loads of it. We're just slowly just building up money and then recording, get money, record.
Yeah.
Because it's no easy.
How long have you been together? Like 2020 or something, it said?
3 years? 3 and a bit years?
Before lockdown?
No, it was just at the end of lockdown.
Was it?
June, it came together.
We've not been together long, like.
2020.
Really?
It's quite cool that actually, because you've got like that chemistry. Did you know each other before or that?
I knew Brian. I knew Gaz, he was one of my neighbours.
Oh,
He
right.
literally stays in the flat across from me, This is weird.
He just
Small
shouted,
world.
out the window, guys. Do you want
He
to
goes, do you want to be in a band, man?
That's like the perfect origin story right there.
Gaz is like, I know. That sounds like a good idea.
Nice. Oh, I've got this in my head by the way because I'm filming after this. I'm trying to keep the volume in here. So what was the new one that you're coming out on Thursday?
Give Me Something.
Give Me Something.
We've done that one at the gig you were at.
Alright.
I think we've done it in the other gig.
It's on the...
That's a wee CD for you.
Oh yeah, you'll get that today.
Yes,
sir.
free merch, boys. How does the new one, does it differ for you, any of the stuff you've done before, or?
I don't know, I mean, it's kind of similar to Middle of Nowhere. It's got like that kind of drive, like it's like sort of, it goes and then it just goes even harder, like in the second bit. It's like.
What's your, sorry to cut you off,
That's
what's
right.
your songwriting process? Is it all of yous, normally you, like,
It's everything like that.
yeah, yous all get a
Gaz
little
has
bit
got
of
hundreds
input?
of songs, right? He's literally got hundreds of songs. Like we've got albums and albums that we can do. Like it's not going to be a problem. There's literally loads of. And it's sound.
I've been writing songs like The Island and Middle of Nowhere, and I wrote them like years ago just for sitting about the house with my mates just playing them, and then never ever thought about being in a band in it, and then joined the band, and then this is what it became, because they were like a wee acoustic sort of songs. I'd never even played electric guitar until like joined the band.
Aye?
So they've sort of just.
And I hadn't played bass either, by the
He
way.
plays guitars, like he's a good guitarist, like plays rhythm guitar really well. Anyway, so it's like it's not really much of a progression, to be honest. Like you go from acoustic to electric, and all of a sudden electric is easier to play. And it's like, oh.
I skipped that. I went straight to electric to start learning.
learned
I
on
didn't
electric.
like acoustic. It was too bulky for me. My tip got in the way. It was
I
like,
get that, aye. No, my tips are as
I
well.
get that. I feel your pain, hen.
I get that problem sometime and all, man.
So,
lose weight.
have you all like grew up playing instruments, or was like the band sort of like the reason? I know that you have, haven't you?
We've all played like throughout our lives.
Aye.
I obviously, I started playing the guitar when I was 12, seriously. But before that, I was playing it. You know, like I was into things like Stephen Grappelli and fucking John Williams and Julian Bream and all the classical stuff. You know, before then I heard Pink Floyd, and it just blew my head off.
Yeah.
You know, I still remember it to this day. You know, like, sort of hearing Comfortably Numb solo, and I was like 12 years old, very influential, soaking up everything like a sponge, and it was like, oh, wow.
I would have liked to see what that would have been like, because I was introduced to Pink Floyd quite young, because my granddad was a big fan, but it didn't grip me quite like it did until I was about 19, 20. 20 years old. I don't know what it was. My ex-partner showed me it, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, he passed away. But I think that's why like I think he would Pink Floyd so much, and I definitely hear the influence of them, particularly, and you better get used to it. I do have a comment about that, but we'll get into that. I'll get that. Hold on.
I mean, I was a late comer to playing guitar. I never got a guitar until my mid-20s.
Right.
Always wanted to play guitar, but never ever done it.
Did you play instruments as a child or that?
Nah, not really, just like at school on the keyboard and that, but that was like just...
Did you play keyboard?
No, like I'm just like...
I see you're looking for a keyboard player just now.
Not mega, like, but I was working in Bathgate on Saturday, and I was like I'm going to buy a guitar. Phoned the missus, got permission, bought a guitar, and then...
Got permission.
You have to phone and get permission.
I love that. Can I buy a guitar? Because I got that sounds...
What about you, bass?
I started playing guitar after probably high school, to be honest. I was into my football, but I was always into my music. My dad was a massive Beatles fan, and I remember going into the car and they would play like rock music as well. So I've always had that. I was a massive Michael Jackson fan,
Oh, yes.
Shaking Stevens fan.
Yeah, there he is,
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I've just always loved music.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Oasis, when the Oasis came out. That was me. That was me. I like the guitar.
That was a big thing for me as well.
I used to work with a boy in Safeway, the old Safeway, and we had a party one night, and he had a guitar, electric guitar. I said, "Let me hear you play." Like, and I was like, "That's cool." Like, I says, "I want a guitar." So I actually went to Argos and got myself. I think it was like a £40 acoustic guitar, and just sat and watched the. Well, there was no YouTube videos back then, so it was Oasis at MTV Unplugged.
Aye.
Just sit, play chords.
Just watching them, man.
So when we got together, it was like, do you know a bass player? No?
We did
Well,
know
we
bass
did, but-
players, but they're all in bands.
Yeah.
Aye.
Do you know
So-
what I mean?
I said, I'll get a bash.
I'm glad you
I'll
did.
convert.
There we go. Aye, that's what happened.
Nice, though. I definitely hear it in the tracks as well. This is the thing, like bass was never something that I'd like picked up on until I started listening to Pink Floyd and Dave Gilmour and realising obviously there's more to just drums and vocals and
I
stuff.
thought you were saying until you start listening to Azurescens there.
Changed my life.
But no, as I say, I love it. As I say, I've been in a band, like, I just love being in a band.
Is this your first band? Have you been in one before?
I've been in one or two back in the day, aye. But I just love it. Love it.
Any memorable gigs? Or I remember obviously the one at yours when the luckily enough, what was it? Something had happened. A fucking pint had got
The band before us had left a pint backstage and it fell into the bloody plug
electrics. The
socket.
whole fucking
the
place
whole
went
place.
black. But thank God
I
that
like
we
that.
did.
That was cool.
That's what I mean. Any other memorable moments? Any other gigs? Any good lads?
Probably Aziz for me, like. Aziz Abraham, the Ian Brown guitarist. He came to the Purple Orange, played. And we got to support him, so
That's
I was
mad.
like, oh, yes, that means brilliant. Like,
It was a bit different, eh?
that was.
You know, and speaking to him outside and that, but
What brings him here?
money, usually.
Okay, well,
No, I mean, obviously, Purple Orange, what they try and do is they try and get sort of semi-famous bands or semi-famous people quite often.
Is it
like,
Frank that still owns it? Or
no,
is
it's
he running?
it's Michael that owns it.
I thought it was Frank for some reason.
No, it's the guy Michael that owns it, and he's really nice. Do you know what I mean? And he's right into his music, and I, to be honest, when it first opened, I didn't think it would last.
I would have shut the actual music shop now, if they not.
Well, that's it. That's again right. That's it. You could talk about that for ages as well, because Scott's a pal of ours as well, You know, and obviously the reason for that is Scott can't afford to have high-end guitars in that shop, like Les Pauls and Telecasters.
Because it's like right there.
So so he's got like more cheaper makes and whatnot, right? And it doesn't mean that they don't play good, and as Brian said, he learned on a 40 quid guitar, right? So, it's like one of the ones that you can be a snob by. We've all got nice guitars, but we saved up loads for a long time to get those guitars.
It wasn't just readily
it's
available.
hard work, to get them, exactly. So, it's a shame. It is a shame, but no, I think Purple Orange will continue on, and I will certainly.
That's a great venue.
It's
It's
such a
lovely.
good sound.
Very
in there.
intimate, which I like.
Yep.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
definitely.
But no.
One of the questions there, by the way, it says,
Tangent,
are there any instruments you guys play? And then it says, praise Andrew. Because
Exactly.
at the Midnight Breakfast Club, obviously I've known you as well. Like, I've always kind of heard you play and all the stuff you put up on Facebook and stuff. But that day at NBC, that's what I made at NBC, I was out of it. Nothing that was taken away from you, but I remember at one point you stopped and you done like a solo, and I was like this. Like, you're right in here, like, oh, fuck, he was going up.
Listen, we're like that too, like.
Aye, man, you were just going away. I do think that's the psychedelic influence.
There's certainly been a psychedelic influence with me, and I've taken lots and lots and lots of mushrooms and acid when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'm older now and don't do that, but I certainly spent a long time listening to, mad music. Like, the influence is just ridiculous,
I do believe it opens you up, but just because of the whole vibrational frequencies and stuff
Aye,
like that as
definitely.
well. There's
It
something
gives you an
to it.
understanding of something else that's there, I mean.
That's
and
why I study psychology, by the way. I wanted to go study psychology because I want to study psychedelics and the effects that it could have.
Well, you never
potentially.
know. They might change their
There's so much
attitude
out there.
towards them.
There's so much.
Yeah.
I hope so. I
You
think
need
we'll
to
get
go to
there
a different
eventually.
country, to study it properly. You can go to Portugal if you want,
The
I have looked
Netherlands
into
do a
that.
lot of. They done a exchange student stuff with us. I didn't qualify for it though because.
Well, that's a shame. It would have been just nice to go to the Netherlands, full stop. Let's be honest.
Just
about
live there
it.
for 3 months,
exactly.
decent, like.
Yeah. Nice place.
So I know you said Oasis and Pink Floyd were a big influences kind of on you. Is there any other
Oh my God,
bands
man.
particular that just come to your head, or is it just
The Verve for
Ocean
me.
colour
aye.
scene, man.
Ocean Colour?
OCS.
I don't know if I've listened.
You have. Ocean colour scene, of course you have. And
It's probably one of the things like you'll sing a
it'll be
song
one
about.
of these
Oh, I know
ones-
who you're on about.
Well, it'd be one of these ones where I can guarantee you know at least 8 of their songs,
Aye.
and you didn't just know them, you'll know the lyrics and
lyrics,
everything.
aye.
You just probably don't know it's them.
Yeah,
Big-
that happens a lot with me.
So the guitarist for them, right? I'm a big, massive Paul Weller fan as well. You know,
Oh, aye.
I
know
love,
him.
regard myself kind of as a mod.
He's my pal.
I'd love to meet him, but obviously OCS, their guitarist is Paul Weller's go-to guitarist as well, and Steve Craddock is tremendous in the guitar. He just is, and I'd love to be as good as him. And that's kind of where I strive to be, is just to be as perfect as these people that I idolise. He's tremendous. I know that you'll agree with me.
Aye.
Been to see
Massive,
Ocean
aye.
Colour Scene and Cooler Shaker as well, another really, really amazing band.
Heard
like,
them before. Yeah.
see live, like they're up there. I mean, I went to see Pink Floyd as well, by the way, so I've actually seen them. So
Oh, you motherfucker!
I've
seen the Scottish Pink Floyd. They were very good.
I've seen them and the Australian Pink Floyd.
Aye.
I'm good friends with the Scottish Pink Floyd. You know that?
I know.
Chick and Rab and that are
See
good
Graham,
pals.
their
Yeah.
saxophone. I'm really good pals.
Well,
with him.
he's not.
lovely.
He's not.
He's like not part of the band, but
Not
he'll
now.
tour with them. Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know. I think he's more interested in doing his UB40 thing and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
he
you
has
know?
kind of taken off a wee bit of solo and stuff. He's doing a big plug to you, like doing wedding stuff and all that as
Aye.
well. So he's a good guy.
He certainly is. He's a tremendous saxophonist. Come on, let's be honest about it. That's another thing I wish I'd learned to play. You know, the saxophone, that would
Oh,
have been
aye.
really nice. It's
Just
got a lot
anything.
of emotion and feeling behind it, you know.
Oh yeah, you can't not like listen to saxophone and not feel anything. I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some reason, it just reminds me of American Horror Story though. Like saxophone. I don't know why. You've ever watched that?
No.
I've seen some of it,
Highly
yeah.
recommend. Highly recommend.
I'm a lot of what.
Yeah, well, by all means, recommend me a whole bunch of stuff to go and watch, by the way, because I've watched everything that there is, right?
Oh,
on
I'll tell you what.
Netflix and that,
I actually rewatched. It's on Prime. It's called Daisy Jones and the Six. It's
Right.
it's based off a novel, but it's actually kind of based on how Fleetwood Mac
Alright.
came to be, and like all the obviously conflicts between them fucking each other and all that. But it's actually very good. It's from a different stance, and it's not solely about Fleetwood Mac, but it's a fucking good watch, and it's only like a 10-part series. It's on Prime. Daisy
Yeah,
Jones
my
and the
daughter
Six.
was there for
So
that.
Fleetwood Mac's another big influence in me as
Aye,
well.
the
eh?
soundtrack for it's just phenomenal. I have a question a bit deeper. How do you handle creative differences or conflicts within the band? I know Knoxy's relatively new to you, is he not? He's not been here since day one, is he?
He's about a year now, I think, or maybe just under a year he came in. But
Been that long, huh?
I will.
Jeez, almost.
I think it was maybe May, I think. I think so. But that would not really have
Didn't
any.
have arguments.
No.
We argue about what song we're going to record
Aye,
next.
that's a big thing.
No, I didn't necessarily mean
argument.
arguments, just more like is it creative differences or conflicts? Is it just you're quite good at communicating
Do you know
because you
what,
all
right?
kind of know each
See,
other?
each one of us, right, see if we can do it better, we'll do it better.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
Try it,
no, there's no ego here.
I was
like,
about to say the
there's
ego.
no
is
ego in this
not
band, because we can't have that. Like, it's like,
It's been easy. I
You
think
know-
it's been really easy, to be honest.
you write a song, right? Gaz writes a song, comes to us and jams it, and we listen to it and might pull it apart and then put other bits into it and that, right? And it's always for the good of it. We wouldn't do it for the bad of it, do you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
You want to create something that people are going to listen to and go, like, wow, you know, and obviously that's what every musician should be doing.
Absolutely.
But then you get a lot of bands where you'll get one person that's a total megalomaniac and he wants to control
Just stay that
everything,
way.
and it's just, you can't do that because you can't shout orders at somebody because they'll just get their back up and then instantly leave.
But also just try
That's
to
it.
control anything, I think. Just
you
anything
shouldn't.
chaos.
I don't know.
That's a creative process, right? It needs to be allowed to breathe. Do you know what I mean? And that's why a lot of our stuff, like if you come and see us live, we do play our songs the same, but there is a certain element of improvisation.
Aye, 'cause that's
And
what it's all
artistic-
about. Like,
artistic,
you
yeah.
want to go hear your favourite songs in that, but I think like gigs are more memorable when you go and like when the band does something or they like collab 2 songs or whatever together, and you're like, what the
100%.
fuck? They've not played this in years or whatever. Like,
Aye.
I think that's what makes you want to buy the ticket. What makes you more interested in going
Aye.
and seeing them live rather than just being like, oh, I can listen to this, stream it on fucking Spotify.
Aye, well, even like we were saying, I've had the like songs sitting there for ages, so I've brought them over, and next thing we'll jam them out. And Brian will be able to try and change Discord, so we'll do it, sound better, that's just to make it better. So.
Jobs are done.
Aye.
I just think it's been quite easy, to be honest. Like,
Well, going back to what you were kind of touching on there, like, what are your thoughts on the current state of like the music/creative industry?
Well,
like,
there isn't a state. We're hoping that maybe that's going to change. With the advent of, we're on a podcast just now, right? That's something that I think that's modern, right? That's a good idea. You know, people on a radio station essentially, but being filmed at the same time. People love to see the face, you know, going along to that. But there's too much of that. Like, I could literally buy a keyboard, right, and write a song with it in 2 minutes. It's kind of got to that stage.
yeah, especially
so-
with like TikTok and all that as
Aye,
well,
it's-
independent artists.
I mean, there is the advent of like there's some tremendous people out there. Like I get my mind blown all the time watching TikTok and
Yeah.
YouTube videos, but it's become too easy almost for some of these people. There's no creative, like, see, just sitting down in a room with no telly on, right, nothing there, and just playing the guitar and writing a song. That essence is kind of gone from music, you know. If you get a keyboard and you press one button on it and it sounds like angels, what the hell? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drum machines that you can go, there's a nice drum beat. That's your drum beat done. What's nah?
Everything I do feels went a wee bit too technological. I still kind of like appreciate like classic old timey stuff. But I do feel like it is a bit more readily available, especially with the way that technology and some music is now, there's a big thing for, I'm not really a big like rave like doof tunes, you know what I mean? Like I'm just not. But there is a higher demand in that now with all these like kind of things, and TikTok and YouTube being a big one to get it out there. But I don't know, I'm fucking starting to show my age if I say this, but I feel like the youngins now just didn't appreciate like how music should be or had been made, and I don't know, I feel like it's going to be a dying art. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we've got a good few really good albums coming out this year, you know, from some well respected bands that we love as well, right? And hopefully they'll do well in the charts, and some of the younger generation will do what I did and go, oh, listen to that, my God, that band for the 60s is amazing. You know, like I'm hoping that'll happen. Yeah. Because like when that does happen to somebody, there's nothing that'll stop you doing that. See, if you get the inspiration to go and do something when you're a child, you're doing it. That's it, simple. You know, there's no parents or anything involved. It's you've made the decision that that's what you want to do. You know,
that's the good thing I think about technology is that because these things are now kind of readily available, there is like more youngsters like wanting to, you know, go a wee bit. Explore, you know, like what's this? Like have a wee fuck about with this and see what comes of it. But I think
the cost as well sometimes comes into it.
Oh, everything.
I mean, you go to Transmit. I mean, I've not been to Transmit yet, but my daughter goes, and it's full of young ones. Which is for me brilliant to go and see because they're following bands. I think it costs a fortune as well these days.
I went to Transmit in 2018, my first one, and it was like 180 quid or something for the ticket. And that was just for the one day. I think it was the Sunday that we went.
Wasn't it?
And we seen Arctic Monkeys, which was phenomenal. But I went because they released Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, which was, you know, they brought in all these different instruments. They went very 70s vibe. It wasn't normal Arctic Monkeys, which is what I like about bands. Like, they don't stick to their niche.
Change the genre that they're doing.
But everyone gets so pissy. Like, fucking people were going daft at them on the internet and that. Like, you'd be like, that's it. And they gave up on Arctic Monkeys now because they're no that young fucking boisterous sound and stuff. But it was a lovely day. Actually, it was on acid that day. Took some acid and sat and listened to Arctic Monkeys. It was phenomenal. Sat smoking some dudes. I mean, no, I don't do drugs ever. What you on about? So that was a good time, and I love gigs. I love festivals and stuff like that. But I would much rather like keep my money and just put it only towards like specific bands I'd want to see. And obviously sometimes you'll get like a headliner or two, which has happened to me. Like I've heard a headliner and I've been like, who the fuck are these? And then I've been obsessed with them ever since and watched them grow as a band. That's my homework. That's my homework.
I'm telling you, man.
I know. I probably have.
No, but it's not even that, right? There's albums and albums and albums, right, of stuff for you to listen to. And some of the songs aren't musically going to blow your mind, right? There's not always big fancy drum bits and guitar parts, and you know, sometimes it's just like really just beautiful melody, and that's for me, melody is really important in a song. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be OCS, get on it.
I'm on it. What about collaborations or that? Have you worked with anybody else, or you're going to be bringing anybody else in, doing a wee collab tune?
Oh, you thought about that?
No. Collaborations?
A wee feature.
I don't know how that works.
I'll feature. I'll come and sing for you.
You'll play the keyboard, no?
I can pretend. No, my mum used to be married to my older brother and older sister's dad, right? And he was like a performer, singer, guitar, and they'd go round like the wee Masonic lodges and stuff in Craigshill and around the place. And my mum, she was only like 17 or something at the time, would go along with him. And she'd just put like a backing track and she'd pretend to play the keyboard for him because she was just like, daddy, you know, it's better with a two-piece. And this dude, she'll never forget it. She's told me this story hundreds of times. That good dude came up to him and was like, you know, you should go solo, you should leave him, he's fucking shite. And I was like, aye, man. I'm fucking claiming your fame. All she had to do was press fucking play.
That's brilliant.
This is a good one, actually. What's the most unexpected or unusual source of inspiration for your songs?
For me,
is it based on like life experience, something you've done that day, or is it just you look back at what you've written before and you just kind of conjure up, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. I've done.
The songs are always written about something.
There's always something.
You know, they've all got a story like that. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think since we're working with Gaz, right, I've kind of started to appreciate lyrical content more. I'm just into music really, but I'm into the lyrical content now, and see, you need to have a story. But every single song that we've got is different. Some of them are dark subjects, you know, and
they're the good ones.
like, you know, like, people relate to that. Everybody's been shafted by somebody, right, at some point, right? So it's like,
or just life in general.
Your life just life shafts you every day, doesn't it? You know, so you get on with it. It's good.
And, definitely it's a mix. Like, there's like you can go back to, I don't know, old memories. Just sitting playing the guitar, and maybe like something will come in, and then away you go. Just a story there, but I don't know. Sometimes I just come, and other times you're thinking about something and you've got to get it out. So.
He's getting into that flow state.
Well, I got up and nearly stood in my cat yesterday night, and as I nearly stood in the cat, I went through to the kitchen to make myself a coffee, and I went, oh my God, I've got a tune in my head. I about turned right back, got the guitar out and worked the tune out, and I was telling them about it earlier on the cat. I've got a fucking really good tune, that way to hear it. So that's how inspiration comes from anywhere, doesn't it?
I mean, I think I wrote 3 hour songs when I've been at my work. Like, just something comes in my head and I'll just type out on my phone and go home, put a wee, like, couple of chords to it, and then...
That's hilarious when you do that, He's done that. He said that he came to us because I've wrote a song about a magic mushroom.
Oh, that's right. I was like, wow, man. It's like, no way. No way, man. That's our title. Title track.
Andy came up with the name Azurescens for the band, and we're like, alright, that sounded different, we'll go for it. So I went home, had a couple of beers, got the guitar out, and then I wrote a song about being a magic mushroom.
That's amazing though.
Took it back.
It's actually going to be our next single, isn't it?
I was going to be the next, we've just recorded it. So
that's awesome. I look forward to that one.
I just blew my mind like
Have you connected with people a lot because of that? Like how do you connect with your audiences during like live performances?
I don't know if people listen to the lyrics so much, right? It's like, for instance, we put up a lyric video the other day.
Light to Dark,
and it's like, to us, we're singing about it, it's, you know, it's a love song, right? It's about somebody that's not having a good time and that, and how you love them, you know? And if you listen to the lyrics, they're quite deep, but until we put the lyric song, you know, actually on YouTube for people to read, I think they come to the gig and don't really pick up on what's going on. That could be down to the sound engineer right enough as well.
I've noticed that's been a...
Getting vocals up above the music can be an issue.
Weekend? I was at Legends last weekend, and Contra was with them. They were playing. They were headlining actually. They weren't meant to, but they got to. So I was like, yes. And I went up to the sound engineer about 2 songs in, and I was like, go and fucking put the mic up. I was like, you can't hear Sam sing. I was like, go and turn. He was like, that's the best you're gonna get. And I just looked at him. I was like, and then
it really isn't the best. It really isn't. Yeah.
Well, I think he was just in a mood because he literally kicked the last band that were playing off because. Well, their bass player ended up, I think it was their bass player, he was Irish and he was wearing like a thingy hat and he ended up just spraffing like IRA pish at the fucking audience. And then they went over their time by like 2 songs, so the dude literally went up and turned them off and was like, get the fuck off. And obviously they were in fake Glasgow, so the wee guy was getting up in his face and that. I was just sort of like, rock and roll, man. But
when we played there, I'm sure they were kind of like that's your fucking time up.
They're
like,
very,
like,
very on the ball.
Just came on stage, like, fucking,
I know. We just ignore and just be nice and polite and get off stage as quick as we can. I'm usually off before everybody, but you know,
I'm definitely the last one off like that.
It's always Gaz. You come in, Gaz. I've got the car loaded up and he's still on stage and wrapping up the cables and putting them neatly away in the bag. And
but nah, for me, songwriting's important. Like, I mean, lyrics to a song for me is important. Like,
they really are.
You ever written anything?
I wrote Better Get Used to It.
Was that you?
Well,
mostly.
Well, I went to Andy's one Saturday. Was it Saturday?
It was during the pandemic. And we'd met each other in Morrison's, didn't we, at the beginning?
That's fate. It's fate, mate.
We're like, you know, let's get a band together, man. This is really annoying, this lack of interest in our lives, you know.
Mad how it came about the way.
And then the COVID thing happened, and that's what it's about. It's about COVID.
You better get
it screwed us right up, man. A lot of people. And I mean, Brian had a set of chords and that, like, and, you know, some lyrics, and we've just sat down and worked on it, worked on it, and then we were quite really proud of that for a while.
Aye.
You know, that
Came
song.
for the Who song, You Better. Is it that? You better. And I went to him, I thought, you better get used to it. And wrote it down and went to Andy's, and then that was it.
I actually had a
Song
question
came about.
about that. It was, see how the radio transmission that plays at the end where it was like there's tragedy, is that from COVID times, or where did you get that
yes.
from?
So that was Fraser Brown. That was Fraser Brown, wasn't it? For where our Foxmore studio.
So me record a song, right, we're always thinking about, like, you know, if it's going to fit in an album, where it's going to fit in an album, is it going to tell the story in a certain way, right? And the song I always imagined, right, you know, when you're sitting at the time watching the telly and it was just chaos.
Right,
and it's people in hospital beds, all that kind of stuff, right? And whether it was media, you know, pushed on us to make us go, and I don't care about any of that, right? It was a terrible time. And we'd created Better Get Used to It, and we left a bit at the end and at the beginning and said to Fraser, look, Fraser, you've got artistic direction, but we want news sounds at the beginning of that and at the end, so that it kind of bleeds in and bleeds out. And he done
a fantastic job. Brilliant, like.
That was what I listened to. It says,
really good.
Like I heard the Pink Floyd influence in that, because he Wish You Were Here, you know, at the
Massive
start
Pink
and the
Floyd
end of Wish You Were
influence
Here,
in
where
it,
you've
yeah.
got that radio transmission playing.
Exactly.
And obviously just the way that you sound, very, very David Gilmour in the vocals, as well as
me.
Dave
That's
as
me
well.
singing
That's
that.
Is it? I thought it sounds like you.
No.
It must be copying me.
No, we share the vocals. Right?
I know, I noticed that at NBC.
So like when Gaz is singing a song, I try and sing backing vocals in the right places.
I like
right?
harmonise a little bit in that.
So and the same with him, when I'm doing a song, you know, he harmonises. Same with Brian.
I really thought it was you, honestly.
I
was sitting doing my makeup listening, I was like, nice.
It's pure Pink Floyd for me, like.
Oh, I definitely heard it in that.
Really is,
that
isn't
song.
it? Love it.
It means a lot to me, because like I can't stress how much it messed me up, man. Like being taken away from everything for like almost 3 years, and it just, do you know
we
what?
were promised a month, and then it turned out
it seems like
years.
like a blink an eye. I go right now, you know. It really does. Like it doesn't seem like it was such a long, but it was.
Yeah.
We had a great time outside having barbecues and that, like breaking the lock-up rules.
Aye.
Because everybody was segregated. But
That was the one thing. One good thing I think that came from it though is that I noticed I was out a lot more, because obviously you got your hour recess, you were allowed to go your walks.
for a walk in that.
So you had fuck all else to do. If you
So
wanted to
you would go
sit
for a
with
walk.
the news in your face 24/7, so you were like, nah, I'm getting out. And I was still working, and I ended up going into health and social care during it, which was fucking awful. Like I worked in a residential home
dear.
and seen what it done to the oldies and stuff like that. And that was heavy. So going out and getting out and about was like my safe haven. And my pal up the road, we'd still meet, like, but we didn't give a fuck. It was like, nah, you're not gonna completely socially like segregate everyone. And I had just graduated college, so like everything in the last few weeks was online, and that it was a weird like transition time. But the only good thing I do think that came from it was how active I got, like, from doing that. And I think obviously being out and getting the vitamin D and all the sun on your face was definitely good for mental health, and stopped a lot of people from fucking tipping over the edge, because that
Some people
shot
some people did
statistics up.
tip over the edge.
They did.
And I know some people that have not came back yet as well. Personally, like, actually know some people that are just away with it now.
Me too. They're just
It's like,
fucked.
what has happened, man? Like, what traumatic experience did you... It was traumatic enough, but what the hell was it like for you? You know, the psychology thing again, it's like, you can't do that to people. You just can't. People need human interaction. You know, and it actually, to be honest, I'm just going to say this now, if there's ever a pandemic again, I am not sticking to their silly rules.
No, I'm not.
I don't.
I'm not getting your jabs and that either.
I'd rather die, man. I had a sore arm, right, a numb arm for 9 months or something like that after that last jag, and I got my vaccination,
I did too.
I fell for
I got
it.
told I'd lose my fucking job if I never.
Exactly. No, well, that was the same thing for us. You can't play gigs. You can't go anywhere if you're not vaccinated.
You had to prove it and that. I remember going
disgusting.
to. It was Meatloaf. I saw the Meatloaf musical.
And you had to take it.
And I had to do like a QR code thing to prove that I'd been vaccinated and shit like that. And they actually were scanning it. Like I know a lot of places weren't, and it wasn't like a big thing. They weren't really caring. It was more just like a fear mongering type thing, and obviously just people being sheep and following. But obviously, when you get told that you're not allowed your livelihood, you're not allowed a job, you're not allowed to see your pals, your family, and all that, unless you do that.
You've got to make a decision,
wild.
haven't you? You know, but like my decision next time will be, look, no, I'm sorry. You know, I'd rather die. Do you know what I mean? Like, just go and enjoy yourself. You know, if that happens, if it happens.
Well, that's actually all the. Is it?
Is that all the questions that you
No,
had?
that was all the questions focusing on the band is what I had.
Oh, right, cool.
I had, and then obviously I did it was like album knowledge and cues, and then there's like some filler questions, which is just like if you could have dinner with a historical figure or something, like who would it be and why? Let's go.
You may take a think about that though.
I don't need time.
Guys, what we
I wouldn't. I'm not going to say historical figure, like
just anybody.
Anyone. Anyone that's passed or still here, even if you could have dinner with who, one person.
In a musical sense, or
Anybody.
Anybody. When you go, guys, you go first.
I mean, I'm a big country fan, like. So
I love country music.
I'd have big Luke Combs over, man, and me and him would just sit and have a couple of beers and all that, man. Aye, definitely.
Nice.
You put your Stetson on and that.
Definitely. Cowboy hat.
Sit your chaps.
Get big Stapleton over as well. Just Stapleton as well.
I love Chris Stapleton. A big country fan. I've got family in Texas as well.
Right, cool.
They came over just last year there, and they're hilarious.
We've got quite a big influence in country in our music.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it.
He hates it.
He doesn't like the idea that we've got any country connection at all, but you can hear it in the tunes as well.
What is it about country that you didn't like?
I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know.
Every time we're playing a song like that's got a bit of country in it. No, it's not.
I'm like, you like a bit of Neil Young, aye. You like, you know, like
Johnny Cash,
the Eagles and that.
Like the classic stuff.
Well, they're all country, so like, why would you not like it? You know? Some of it is
It's
cheesy.
no my
I
bag.
think that's
Simple, it's just no my bag.
What about you? Who would you go to dinner with?
That's too big a question because see if you ask me right, like specifically if I was going to have something with a music person, I'd have to have three. I couldn't choose.
Your top.
And then if it's a famous person, right, I'd like to meet Mother Teresa. I'd like to meet Gandhi. I'd like to meet Hoffman. There's a few different people throughout history.
But the other two, why?
because they'd be interesting to sit and talk to.
Was it Gandhi recently that there was a big controversy because he was like making a young boy suck his tongue? Was that him?
That's horrible. That's no him.
I'm sure it was.
No, it's no Gandhi. That's the monk guy.
Ah,
what the hell's his name again? What's his name again?
Sure?
My God, definitely. Gandhi's no worse.
Oh yeah, it was a monk guy then. But some mad fucking monk guy.
No, it is. It's he said suck my tongue
on camera in front of like thousands of people, and
it's no nice.
the wee boy did it and felt very uncomfortable.
Did he do it?
Mm-hmm. It's on fucking camera. It's recorded, man. It's fucking wild. It's a big figure though. It's going to fucking annoy me until I realise his name.
We're gonna get. It's all right. Don't worry. But it's in the back of my head working away.
We'll get there. What about you? You figured out someone, Brian.
Honestly, I don't know.
I think mine's would be David Gilmour. Huge David Gilmour fan. Yeah, I'd love to.
I want to jam with him. I've wanted to jam with him since I was a wee boy. You know. Because
too many for me, man. It's too many for me. David Bowie, Noel Gallagher,
Prince,
Paul Weller.
Oh, I love Prince.
Tom Petty,
Peter Kay for the comedy aspect.
Totally. There's loads.
There is loads. Like.
Do you know what? Even now, right? I never liked Queen when I was wee, right? But I'd like to sit down with Freddie Mercury now and talk to him. But do you know what? When I was, I didn't really like them when I was younger, but. Strange how you change when you get older. No, your musical change, your musical like aspirations change and things you're into. It's weird. It's really strange.
I'm definitely not the same girl I was 10 years ago.
No, I think when you're younger, like you're fanatic. You're sort of fanatic about things that are around you, and you're more influenced by your mates and who you hang around with. So kind of like who they're into is kind of what you end up being into, and you might be influenced by your big brother. or your big sister or somebody.
I'm
like
the
that.
youngest of 5, and I got
Oh, man.
bullied. I got bullied
I don't
into
believe that
having
for a
a
second.
cool personality, though.
It's worked out the best for you, you know.
But we
Wasn't it a bad thing?
grew up with characters, didn't we? Oh, Ladywell. Me and Andy's for Ladywell.
All right, I'm a
We-
Craig
we-
Hillian.
Craig's Hill.
Craig
It's
Hillian.
as bad. It's just the
So
same.
the characters we knew over the years, could write a book about them.
You could write a book about
Honestly.
Livingston. Like there could be.
Oh, aye.
Well, a few
See-
people have, like, you know, Aidan Martin down at the scheme.
Yeah.
He obviously wrote a book called Euphoric Recall, I think. When he tells his story about he grew up in Ladywell and what happened to him, and he got addicted to drugs and became sober and stuff. But obviously he lost his little brother and stuff, so like there was a lot of trauma and a lot of like. Do you remember that dude that got stabbed in Ladywell? It was like his friend and stuff. So like it goes into a lot of it, and I
You're
do
talking
think
about the one with that Croc did.
there's been a few, isn't there? There's been
There
like
has been,
three or four different kind of incidents
I
similar.
think that the main one was the last one that happened was like so many years ago. But yeah, a boy was walking. You talking about the boy that was 30 odds and he's walking home from work and they just stabbed him for no reason.
No, for fuck's sake, Jesus.
But you know that like thing is that I know about maybe 7 or 8 things that happened over the years, and like it wasn't a nice place to grow up in. You know, like just for people, and I don't know. I mean, it's like anything. Good things always come out of the bad, though.
Yeah.
So you know, like there are good stories and stuff like that, but we could tell some really nasty stories about what happened in the past, and like some right evil characters in Ladywell and Craigshill.
Yep.
But gladly, and a lot of them are passing away now.
We're getting to that
getting older
age,
now,
aye.
and it's like bye bye, see you later. You know, and it's not. I'm making a joke about it. It's sad when people pass away, but see if you're just evil your entire life, right? You know, you kind of deserve it at some point. I
Yeah,
think.
that's kind of, without giving away too much, is what the short film that we're filming now. It's called Bitter Pill, and it's based in West Lothian, and it's actually about the two directors, Ali Robertson and James Hunter. Like, James is actually from Fife, but a lot of the experience that he had was very similar to what Ali had experienced living here and stuff. So there's a lot in this movie that's kind of like relevant to what's happened and what happens in small town schemy areas like this. And there's some heavy topics in it. It's actually the heaviest one we're doing tonight. But I think I will be done by next month, and it'll be out by July. But that's just another thing I think is really good, as well as you guys in the bands and stuff. Like, a lot more creative stuff needs to be happening in West Lothian, because I think didn't want to be known as all the shit in Ladywell. Do you know what I mean? Like all the fucking that's where all this mad shit went on: drugs and alcohol, substance abuse. Like,
But then you see what comes out of that, though, right? So, like, you know, we've got songs about like about addiction. We've got songs about like suicide, depression. You know, all these different things. They're all directly related to one thing, and it's growing up in an area where life is bleak. You know, where you get up in the morning and you go, what might be the interesting thing that you're doing that day? I'm going to get a pint of milk. And it really is as simple as that. There's nothing going round. We were talking about it in the street we stay in. There's just like rubbish strewn everywhere, right? And it's nothing to do with me and him. It's just to do with a couple of black people that stay in the street that don't have the education to know, right, put your stuff in your bin. But then it directly affects us. So, like, it's not only just, it's what you have around you, like derelict buildings, shops that are not full. It's just, you know, it's like, if you look back to how the Beatles came about, or like how, you know, they all came from areas where it was quite impoverished at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they came from families like that, but they grew up in areas where like folk were losing their jobs around them. And the same with punk as well. Punk came out of that. It's like the Thatcher generation, where everybody was getting smashed. And it's, you know, it's everything's directly related to that. You know all about that anyway, you're studying psychology. So.
that's a bold statement. That I know anything just because I'm studying. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received? We're getting deep.
Be yourself. Be yourself for me, like. Be yourself, like.
Aye. Don't trust everybody.
That is a big one. That's one I'm still learning to this day. Like, I'm a big people pleaser, and I give too much. I'm very empathetic. but most of the time that just ends up with like people taking the utter
Yeah,
piss out of you, and then me being me thinking that everyone, you know, is just, but we are in a sense, you know, all this wounded inner child just trying to navigate the world and stuff, and I think I give people the time of the day too much and then trust too much and then end up getting fucked over or hurt or whatever, and I'm like,
As when you're younger at school, you think, you know, everybody's my mate, but they're no.
No.
They're no. It's only like 5% of the people that are talking to you that you're actually your mates. And you find out as you grow up. So, but it would be nice if my younger self had listened to somebody saying, "Don't trust everybody." So I really did think
and to be yourself as well.
That's a good thing as well. Yeah. Not to have an ego, you know. Listen to people. Allow yourself to be different. You know, they're like good messages, I suppose.
I wouldn't say it's advice, but I love Alan Watts, big Alan Watts fan, philosopher, writer. His thing where you're not obligated to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. Got it like everywhere. That's as much as it's advice, it's not, but do you know what I mean? Like that's something that just always sticks with me.
It's the human condition, right, to be slightly different. And some people, like, they'll sit and analyse themselves, right, and think, I'm different, and then they'll focus on it, and it'll become a psychiatric illness. Whereas it's
Like
actually
a paradox complex.
It makes human beings, like, more interesting, right, because we're different. Because if everybody was the same, man, it would be, whoa.
That's why I do like strange individuals, like those ones that don't thingy to the norm, like they sway and stuff, and they're not sheep, they're not just following or saying things because they think that people are going to like that. I used to be like that, and I remember it was during COVID, like lockdown, that I kind of realised that like I was arguing with people. I got right into politics and all that too at a fucking time where obviously it was everywhere. So I just kept arguing because I thought like I was right. When it's like, see now obviously that I went to uni that year, like started uni that year, and I've learned a lot, as much as education's a bit fucked at the moment. Like, I did learn a lot, and it's like, it's not about that. It's about, like, even if we disagree with something, like, if we can sit here in a room and have a conversation about it, and whether I can sway you or you can sway me, or we just agree to disagree, but you've still learned, like, I've still learned your perspective on that as much as I don't agree with it, or whatever that is, you know what I mean? And that was a big thing for me, rather than sitting here and being like, you think A and I think B. Well, I'm not leaving here until you agree that B is what's right and what's legit, and I had to let that go, because it was just ego though, because it's like that inner child. I think obviously COVID and all the lockdown thing had a big influence in me just trying to gain control from something. So I was like, oh shit, we keyboard gangster, like, I'm fucking right. You will agree with me. So stupid. So you're not obligated to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. How long? We've got just over 10 minutes left. I have thought-provoking questions. It wouldn't be psychological if I didn't, right? But they are quite generic. I did go on to ChatGPT and I was like, what's some interesting thought-provoking...
You did the Wonka thing then, did you?
I did. But there are some like crap ones that I didn't really like. This sort of does go on with what I was just talking about. Like, I'll put it out to you first though. How do you reconcile the tension between pursuing personal ambition and maintaining meaningful connections with others? What I take for that is, how do you basically make up with people or right your wrongs, but maintaining, without being a dick, basically? Like, how do you come about it? Because I asked you earlier about conflict within the band. It's a big thing that I like to talk about.
See if you can just apologise to somebody. When you get a bit older, you realise that apology does actually mean something. Someone can actually apologise. But see if someone apologises to me if they've wronged me, I really respect that. Do you know what I mean? Because it takes a lot to say sorry to somebody. Right. That's a really big
recognise
thing. Like, or to recognise that you've done wrong, But I've done wrong to so many people over my life, man, but not meant to be.
Of course, you know, I don't think... Well, I would hope that people wouldn't go in with the intention of hurting.
That's the thing, you don't, right? But like,
inevitably, there are people out there that will.
There certainly is. But inevitably, you can hurt people and not even mean it, you know, and that's a terrible thing. But then I think you realise that maybe just apologising sometimes is enough. Just that. And it shows that you're like maybe sat and thought about what you've done and contemplated the fact that you were an asshole. Really. You don't really want to be an asshole, you know. Well, I certainly don't anyway.
I'll always remember a specific time. It was just recently, actually. A good friend of mine that's also working on this movie. He's done a lot of acting and all that recently. But I met him through The Scheme, which is Aidan Martin, the dude that wrote that book. Him and Mark Deans run The Scheme in Livingston. It's a charity. And he's actually Aidan's cousin. So I met him there, basically. And he's had a fucking shit deal of cards. He's been on a few podcasts with the other guys and went right into full detail about it. So it's out there if anyone wants to go and hear it. But I remember obviously first meeting him, and it was just me and him. We're having it was me, him, and Martin, and he was just telling us, like, you're in that space with new people. You kind of want to. I've been there where you just kind of want to give them, this is who I am. Like, this is everything that I've been through, so you can understand this is why the way I am. And I got that from one night. He is a fellow toker, so I got it in a lot of bundles. And then right after, I just looked at him and I was like, I see you, man. Like, I see you. And I'd never forget the way his total, like, the demeanour changed, and he was like, fuck. Like, no one's actually ever said that to me. And he was like, or he'd been said it to once before, and it was a very significant person, so it touched him, like, but I'll never forget the way it just changed him. And I just kind of felt like, I was like, you didn't need to convince me that you're a good guy or anything, or like the conflicts. And like you said, like, the shit that you've done to wrong people, it doesn't matter really in the end of the day. I was like, but I see you, man. And he was like, oh my God, Kelly. I'll never forget that. Just as something as plain and simple as much as it wasn't like a conflict between him and I, but a conflict in his life that quite clearly affected him, just telling him that I hear him, I see you, like, I'm here for you, man, was enough for him to be like,
that's nice.
And now I've noticed that he doesn't really do that often. Like, he doesn't need to try and sell his story, if you like, which is a big thing for me. We interactions like that. I'm quite an observant person. Will always stick with me, those things.
That's nice to say that to somebody though.
We've not got long. Did you bring an acoustic? No, no singing the day, guys.
There's no singing, no.
We're almost still like 2 minutes away, so I can go and get one.
This is a good one, actually. Just before we wrap up, what do you believe the purpose of art and how it contributes to the human experience? The purpose of art and how it contributes.
Who's answering that first?
Oh,
What's art to you?
There you go,
Gaz.
What's art to me? I don't know, I take it as being able to, like, if you're feeling something, being able to get it out into, like, I don't know, like, writing a song or whatever, like, that to me is
Expressing emotion.
Expressing
something.
how you're feeling, what's there, getting that into a song. And then being able to look back at that and be like, alright, cool, that's what I was thinking or feeling at the time. With them, so,
I like that though, because not just that, you're putting that out there for other people to share. Obviously, you're in a band. So I think that's important. Bringing in, again, human connection.
Because other people will be experiencing the same thing as you as well. So maybe other people will be able to relate to that as well.
Yeah.
Like, certain things, so.
How about you, Andrew?
So, for me, art transcends time. So, I might create something just now and it affects someone in 400 years' time. That's what I'm about, man.
I like that.
That's what I'm about. That is it for me. If I've done that, I've done my job, right, and I'm happy. And that's the same for, like, art, whether it's music, whether it's art like painting, drawing, sculpture, any type of art. If you transcend time, you die and you affect people after that. You've done your job. You've been a good person then, because it should stir emotion in folk, art, regardless of what it is, whether it be a painting again, or a tune, or someone doing some theatrical stuff. It's all art, It's all people expressing. It should stir emotion. But as I said, we're on, we're getting filmed just now. So if somebody ever, like, saw that and understood us and got the message and had a better day, then again, you've done the right thing.
It's in the bag,
Aye.
What about you?
Oh, how am I meant to follow that, mate?
That was definitely thought-provoking.
Same as they guys, eh?
Yeah.
Same as they guys.
Nice.
Yeah. That's art there, there.
Exactly. Who does your
art.
covers and all that? Like your
We all do it.
album
We all do it, and then we all argue about what one's going to do.
That's where the most conflict comes with, like.
Yeah.
See what the best way to do it, right, is for everybody to do as much artwork as they want, right? And we put it on Facebook and we ask people, which one do you like? Then it takes the argument out of it. Right?
I've done that with the two of them at the island and the better get used to it.
I was going to say, better get used to it. That's like a fucking stock. Is that like veg?
So
I don't want to tell you how that one came about. Like,
there's a picture of an empty shelf.
aye, a supermarket.
You hear that one of the lyrics in the song is there's empty shelves, you know, like it's basically...
That was like COVID time, wasn't it?
You're walking in to get yourself like some pasta, and you couldn't buy pasta for like 2 months or something like that. You know, at one point I was like, do you know what I've got now though? I've got about 5 or 6 kilograms, right, rice stored away, and all those different things put away in a pantry, just for in case that ever happens again.
That's
For an apocalypse, eh?
Yeah, no, like I was literally about to say that, like how often my brain goes to thinking about apocalyptic events and that I should be doomsday prepping is quite like alarming.
No,
see if you're ever thinking about that, right, and you're thinking about the apocalypse, you've got to think about how insignificant you are.
Exactly.
It's just one wee thing.
I think that's what it is. It's like I sit there and I'm like, I need bottles of water in the cupboard just in case and all that, and they shut the water off, and then you need this, and you need, well, we should stock up on paracetamol in case, and then I sit back and I'm like, well, really, if anything apocalyptic or catalytic was to actually happen, like,
it's not going to matter.
I'm fucked as it is, mate. So then I'm just like, just hit my wee vape, and then I'm like, nah.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
It's a horrible thought though, right? But it could happen, you know. And we're living, like I thought that we're living in a time where you would think the nuclear threat wouldn't happen. But see, just now, man, it could happen right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Putin could decide that he's had enough, right, with Europe. And
Maybe do it next week. I want to at least release this episode first. That would be good.
We've got a gig next week as well today.
Aye.
That's right, yeah.
Maybe what about the end of 2024?
Totally.
No, there is a lot to talk about that. Like everyone's, I love conspiracy theory. I really do. As much as I don't like dive down the rabbit hole too far, like I do like to watch and listen to people's, like when Flyer was a big thing. I wanted to sit and listen to the people that believed. I'm like, right, what's your argument then? Most of it was just pish and didn't actually like make sense. And then I questioned like if they were all right, but it's still
question whether they're all right. I've got a couple of mates that are die-hard flat earthers, and do you know what? I actually had to walk out of someone's house, right? Because I was just thoroughly disgusted with the fact that they were such an asshole and that their brain was so fucked up that they believed that.
Oh, fuck.
It's like, how does your mobile phone work and that? Like, oh, it's all not what you think, Andrew. It's a big conspiracy. I'm like, fuck off. I've got a mobile phone now, right? But if you'd asked me when I was a child if I'd have an actual thing in my hand that I can look at that's a telly, that's this size,
a camera,
I'd have went, fuck it, no way. You know, so I think there's some truth in some of the conspiracy theories, and they get, you know, like we realise, like the Twin Towers, man, that was definitely America done it to themselves.
America.
You know, America, fuck yeah. You know, all that shit, you know.
Yeah, I mean...
Wait a minute, do you believe Biden's a lizard though? There's a
he's
question
something,
for you.
I'll give you that. Like, I think he's like a robot. Like
weirdly.
They clearly dope him up with fucking B12 and all that just before he
They've got to, you know.
But like how that's even still a thing.
He's probably got one of those neural network links in his brain.
Musk is on it.
It's alright, we'll get him to talk and that. You know.
No, some of the things he says, man.
Biden had a stroke last week. It's alright, we've got plenty of vitamins.
You can see why people believe he's a lizard, but come on, man, you're watching too much of that fucking V. That program with V, they turn it into lizards, isn't it?
That was stupid, eh?
Aye, man. Stupid.
I like lizards as well. You know, if I met a lizard that looked like me, I'd be like, cheers, pal. Like, do you want to draw my joint? Like, your lizard like that one, man. What are you doing?
We're on politics, Biden and lizards. Let's wrap it up there, boys.
No, listen, but Trump might win again. What's that about? How could
I think I'd be alright with that, honestly.
Would you?
I'm a
I
big
think
Trump
he's a
fan.
complete and utter... No, they did do a couple of good things. Right?
I'd say a lot. He's done a lot
No,
for America.
I'm talking about politically.
Aye,
I'm not talking
aye.
about like back in America, because he did do good things in America. He did a lot of racist things as well, though. But what will go, like, see Putin going and actually speaking to Putin and speaking to King Kim Il-jung, whatever his name is. That is brave. right? And you know, and
I'll give you that.
you know what I mean. And like, see if all the world leaders could get together like that, right, and actually just talk the way we are just now, when nobody's shouting or biting our heads off. Maybe we'd come to like some sort of agreement. And
Who's to say
fix
that they
things
don't
up.
know? I think there's too much that we don't know and we will never know, actually. As much as that's fucked.
Yeah. Oh, like I don't. Like, you're going to take me down that rabbit hole.
We'll save that for another
Try not to think about it too much, you know, because it's make you ill, man.
I will wrap it up there though, because that's
Yeah, cool.
the hour. That's been another episode of Kellyology. I want to express my gratitude to my guests for coming on, and for you guys for tuning in wherever you're tuning in. If you enjoyed the conversation, then don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, leave your feedback, and the Azurescens. I'm gonna be saying that in my fucking sleep.
You'll get it when the next song comes out, because we sing it in the next song.
Aye.
You'll hear it then.
And leave a comment, obviously, if you went and you've listened to the guys. Maybe they'll give you free merch, you never know.
Maybe.
But remember, folks, every day is a school day. That's
You mentioned Sneaky Pete's next Saturday, by the way.
Oh, well, this I'm going to give you as an opportunity to plug yourselves. But aye, every day is a school day. The journey does continue beyond this podcast, so we all have got our own lives, you know. So until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and stay groovy. I've been your host, Kelly. Loving you and leaving you. Plug yourselves, your Insta, what's coming up, any gigs, go for it.
Sneaky Pete's on the 21st of March.
That's in Edinburgh.
Yep.
At the 23rd, the song Give Me Something comes out.
23rd of March, sorry.
Will that be Spotify platforms and all that? Is it?
Every platform. Aye.
Epic.
And then Azurescens shortly after that as well. And then a few others as well.
And you're the Azurescens on Instagram?
Aye,
And
basically everyone.
Aye, the Azurescens on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the whole lot.
Yep.
Epic. Get them all there. Go show your support, guys. And that is us. And
Thanks
then
for having
I'll
us.
like, boom, outro music.
Yay!
Yeah,
Right.
class.
Peace and love.
Right one.